Hello, everybody. My name is Belle Jackson, and I'm the founder of the Brewtiful Book Club. Today, we have the honor of sitting down with the incredible Allan Jackson, powerhouse in children's literature and a champion for young readers everywhere. He's an award-winning children's author, a literacy advocate, and a founder of Big Head Books, where he creates stories that empower, educate, and spark kids' imaginations. His mission is simple but bold, making reading exciting, making literacy accessible, and remind every child that their voice matters. Kai's work has been featured on platforms across the nation, inspiring young readers and transforming how families and communities approach books. And now he's here with us to share his journey, his passion, and the magic behind his storytelling. So settle in. This is going to be a good one. Ty, I want to thank you so much for coming on and for being a guest. Thank you. Thank you for being a yes. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
It's funny. First of all, thank you for allowing me to hang out with you. And you said thank you for the yes. One of my cornerstones of my quote unquote success is that I always say yes. It doesn't matter what the platform is, or how big or small the interview or venue or opportunity is. I always say yes. I think I do this because it matters to me, and it matters to the people who I engage with, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, whether it's one some person's first podcast or it's a nightly news channel. I always say yes. You never know what opportunities are going to spark. You never know who's going to see this. And I just, especially as an independent author, want the opportunity to be able to do as many things as possible. So, and even personally, one of my mantras is adventure is always on the other side of saying yes. So I always
Mm,
say yes.
I
So,
love that.
but a little bit about myself. So I'm a children's book author, motivational speaker, three-time TEDx presenter, recent honorary doctorate recipient, all from the importance of reading and inspiring our kids to use books as a tool to become the best versions of themselves. I've been doing this for 15 years. I can't imagine doing anything else. It is my purpose.
I love that. Now, can you give us a little bit more of an insight on what it means to have a doctorate of literacy? Is that what you said?
So it's actually a doctorate of humane letters. It was gifted to me by bestowed upon me, I should say, the Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts, about 4 years ago. It is a doctorate of humane letters is basically an honor to acknowledge those who are out in the community doing good works to uplift its community. So I wouldn't call it a doctor of literacy or literature. I would maybe call it a doctor of good works, someone who's
Oh,
trying to make a difference in the world.
all right, I do love that. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into our interview questions. So, what first sparked your passion for writing children's book, and how did that movement shape the kind of stories you tell today?
So I would say that it all stemmed from being a kid. I was introduced to reading and books at a very early age, but the gateway to reading books was comic books, and I comic books was and still is a tremendous influence on my writing, on my advocacy. But comic books they're short. They're fun, they're engaging, and they feature, the most amazing characters, whether they're the villains or the heroes. And so once I became a writer, which was really all spawned by happenstance, my son asked if he could open up a lemonade stand. He made $50 selling lemonade. I went to the bookstore to try to find a book to teach him about what to do with his $50. I couldn't find one, so I wrote one. And that's kind of the quick story on how I became an author. But once I started writing, I wanted to have the same experience that I was having with my comic books, with really engaging characters, short but powerful stories, kind of these up and down storylines and plots, where you're developing, learning about the characters, but you're having a good time, and most importantly, you're laughing. Like I'm a big believer that reading should be fun for our children. We shouldn't pass down the heaviness of what the society or world are doing right now. Books should be fun. And I know most parents want their book to be books that may be socially conscious, but I
Mhm.
don't think that's like giving them the vegetables first. Like, like give them the mashed potatoes first. Give them the chicken nuggets first. Let them get into the habit of enjoying the importance of reading, and
Right.
that will segue into them developing a palate for more consciously educational awareness things. So yeah.
Hey, that's actually wonderful. So a little, I mean, I know I let you know that I did receive my copy of
All
Danny
right.
Dollar.
All
I
right.
did start reading that, and I love what you did with this book. I wasn't sure what to expect exactly
Mm,
because, it's a children's book. I'm going to say it's a young people's book, if you don't
yeah.
mind.
I don't
Um,
mind.
So I wasn't sure what to expect, but once I started reading it, and then, throughout the book where you like broke down uh financial literacy, it was easier, it'd be easy for a kid to understand, not
That's right.
even some adults, because some of the things that you mentioned, like where the word book actually comes from, I was like, oh
That's
my
right.
God. That was pretty awesome.
That's one of the things that was mattered to me, especially with this book, is for you to laugh and learn at the same time. I think everyone loves to learn. I don't care what kid says how they feel about school. Every person loves to learn. And when you're enjoying yourself and being entertained, and you can get these little nuggets, especially things because everyone is used to term bucks. And so
Mhm.
when you say I need $5, and then you get the origin story on why we say bucks in the first place, you get that aha kind of moment. And I think that really carries with
Precisely.
all of it. Yeah, yeah,
That's exactly what happened. I'm like, oh, never really thought of that, but that makes
that's fair.
sense.
It
I
makes
like that.
sense. Yeah.
You focus heavily on literacy and empowering young readers. What gaps did you see in children's literature that made you say, I have to step in here?
Yeah, it's really simple. Especially when we're talking about Black authors and narratives. I just thought there's too much heaviness there. There's a lot of talk about Black plight and Black suppression, whether it's Underground Railroads or Rosa Parks or Martin Luther King or
Mm.
and those things are important. Unfortunately, they seem to be the only voice that Black authors know how to use. Or I should say, not all, certainly I'm generalizing, but many. And
Mhm.
like I said, I grew up reading books for fun. And
Mhm.
so to learn about the plight of my black skin or a child's black hair and how society views them because of it, I just think it's a lot of heaviness. I'm not saying that they're not relevant, but I'm
Mhm.
also saying it can't be the only voice we have. Do we have to have voices where kids can see themselves as future millionaires, as
Yes.
superheroes, as vessels of imagination? And so my books, will always be those that empower through joy. And
Mm.
I want every kid when they close that book of mine to smile and go, that was fun. And that's my goal with the work that I do. And I want to hold authors accountable. And I understand that we want to express the things that we think matter. Just there should be balance. And let's, make sure if you're creating a socially conscious book, you're also creating a whimsical, light, fun book.
To say you absolutely are creating balance with books like um, Danny Dollar, because yeah, like you said, a lot of the books that we have that are black are, like you said, it's shedding a negative light. So this made me really happy to read.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to hold all cultures, whether they're Asian or Latino whatever, hold all people accountable for that also. I think, and it's not just important for Black America or whatever demographic title or character you're writing for, it's also important for all other kids to be able to see that Black children are more than rappers, more than athletes, more than actors, and that
Yes.
that we're also people. And so to broaden not just for Black America to see themselves in a positive light, but for the rest of the world to see us in a positive light as well.
Ooh, get it. I agree. I agree. You created stories that speak differently to the experiences of children who don't always see themselves in books. How do you approach writing representation with honesty and heart?
Really simple. I really simple. I don't write books for Black children. I write books for period. So I don't have to worry about whatever stereotypical authentic medium I need to have for the writer to feel like I'm speaking to them as a Black child or boy or I've just read children, and
Mm,
I don't put on my Black kid's hat and think, okay, I'm writing for this young Black child. I'm writing for children, and it allows the characters to be free and to be broad so that a little Asian girl can read the book and enjoy it just as much as a little Black boy. And I think that's honestly one of the cornerstones of my success because every child can read this book and enjoy it. So young Black boys and girls, although see themselves represented, it's also little Jewish and Asian and Latino kids who can read the book and just enjoy it as well because they see themselves as this character also, despite the fact that maybe ethnic wise it doesn't look like them. But as a
mhm.
human, it is them. In fact, I see kids all the time wearing like costumes during Halloween representing my characters. And we're talking white kids, we're talking little girls, we're talking anyone and everyone because these kids, um, these kids haven't been tainted by us yet. They
Mhm.
don't have the heaviness of worrying about how the world sees them. They just see themselves as kids, and so it's easy to be authentic writing books for kids because the characters I'm writing for are just kids.
Mm. Man, that's insightful. I love that you are catering to everyone, not just, one community. I
Yeah.
love
And
that.
honestly, organically, because there's a little boy in the cover, organically little Black boys will see themselves as that character.
Mhm.
But I don't have to be hitting them over the head with he's from the hood and he only plays basketball and he loves hip hop. Oh, he's just first of all, every kid loves basketball and hip hop. And so it's like, yeah, it makes it very easy. And I don't have to worry about making this character more ethnically diverse. I'm just making him a
Mhm.
kid.
Love it. What has been what has been one of the most powerful, surprising responses you've received from a young reader?
A few years ago, I was in a elementary school in Troy, New York, and I was doing one of my presentations, which are really a lot of fun. We're laughing and dancing and having a good time. Prior to my coming there, the all of the students received a copy of my book, The Super Duper Kid, which honestly, out of
Oh.
my sixth book, is my favorite. But don't tell Danny. Danny, listen. Uh, um, And as I was making my way to high five all the students, because it's incredibly important for me to have touch points with, and I want every student to feel seen and heard. So I would go through the crowd and give high fives
Oh.
and hugs, and as I passed one little boy, he tugged me on the shirt and he said, "Mr. Jackson, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Sure." And I bent down and he said, "I just want you to know that my entire life I've hated reading until I read your book. And now I really, really enjoy it." And I'm actually kind of goosebumping right now just thinking about it. And I don't think that there's anything that any author wants to hear more than converting a non-reader to a reader. We've all
So
book
beautiful.
that book that like made us see the world differently or opened up the world of imagination to us or just made us feel special. And to have a child say your book was that book that changed the way that they see the world, including their own world, it's just everything. So I like to think that if you can touch one life, you can touch 1,000 lives. If you can sell one widget or one pair of sneakers or one what bracelet, then you can sell 1,000 of them. And so, yes, this is my job. This is my career. This is how I feed my family. So I want to, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I want to do well. I have to do well. But
Mhm.
also from a child who grew up in the project who didn't have a lot of resources and books I could get from the library for 3.99 and to have them change my life in a dramatic way and now be the vessel for creating those books for children to change the way they see the world. It's everything.
It really is. That, you know, I want to, well, you've explained from your end what that feels like to have, a child let you know that your mission has been accomplished, that you've reached them in a way that no one else has reached them. That's huge.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's soul feeding. It makes you feel like because this is my purpose. Like I said, I mentioned before, this is why I'm here. And to see that manifested in children, specifically children, that
Mhm.
your works have an impact. It validates, making this crazy jump, from corporate to writing children's books.
Right
So
on.
I'm very
I
proud
hope
of
this
that.
inspires a lot more kids, that see this video, that read your books to do the same thing when they grow up.
Yeah. And inspires writers to take the chance. Like this wasn't my goal in life. I didn't get the idea to write children's books till I didn't get the idea. So
Oh.
so it's never too late and to follow your dream or passion, even if it's a passion and dream that you didn't even know you could have.
Mm, right on. As both author and literacy advocate, what do you believe families, schools, and communities can do right now to help kids fall in love with reading?
I think there's a lot of things, but I think that they're all very different because what teachers can do and what parents can do and what communities can do are all a little different. Um, Particularly for teachers, I think teachers can make sure that they're reading books that aren't heavy, that books that are
Mm,
fun, and introduce comic books. And even magazines. I think engaging students is about connection and speaking their language. Well, what do these kids speak? You know what these kids they speak Taylor Swift. They speak you know what I mean? Like whatever
yeah.
topical things, like, they speak superheroes. So why not have times where you pull out a comic book and read it to them and talk about superheroes or talk about pop culture? It's the language
Mhm.
that our kids speak. So why not do that? As far as communities are concerned, I think, having more book fairs and more book festivals, to have community leaders emphasize the importance of reading, whether they're government officials or maybe quote unquote celebrities that may live in the area, and have, parades about books. That maybe feature, special characters and that would be really fun. I would absolutely go to a parade where all kids dressed up as their favorite characters with a cat in the hat float or hungry caterpillar ride or something like that. Families, which is the origin of literature, because families and parents particularly are the child's primary educator. So when the parent is doing something, it's going to gravitate to the child more. As James Baldwin once said, and I paraphrase, that children never listen to their parents, but they never fail to emulate them. So a parent, so if, and we can all say that we are products of our parents, as much as
Oh,
we don't want to
absolutely.
be, we are doing the exact same things that they did when we were kids. So if you want your child to be a reader, they need you reading, and also the same type of joy and fun that you want the community to have, you need to have within the home. So Have
Mhm.
family reading night in addition to family movie night. Have, a little special place where you create for your child. Get a little bag and a nice light and maybe even little snacks specifically for reading. So and prioritize it. Make it the same way I used to prioritize family dinners. Family dinners was mandatory, unless like it was soccer night or something like that. We were having
Mhm.
family dinners. But we also had at least once a week reading night, where we would sit down and we would either read one book together or
Mhm.
everybody would read their own individual books. And I tell them you only need 15 minutes. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't have long drawn out. You have to read for hours. 15 minutes. If you read 15 minutes a day, that's about for an adult, that's about 6 books a year. It's probably about
Mm.
25 or 30. 15 minutes a day. That's all you need to do to invest because it's so much more than entertainment. It literally is the foundation of learning, of imagination, of
Mhm.
inspiration. Nothing inspires the way that books inspire.
Right on. That is so true. And I love what you said about like having family readings. My kids and I, 18 and 13, we started doing that probably a couple months ago, maybe 3, 4 months ago, when I first had the idea to even start this book club and do the interviews and
Yeah.
everything. And it started, like you said, like 15, 20 minutes here and there, but now it's like an hour, hour and a half, and
Yeah.
we sit
That's
together
how it
and we
works.
take turns reading. And, it really has blossomed into something amazing. So for you to, bring that up and say it, I'm like, wow, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing okay as a parent then.
You're doing okay. Better than okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Your work isn't just about entertaining, it's educational, it's emotional, and empowering. How do you balance teaching valuable lessons without sounding preachy?
Um, that's a very good question. I always, as I'm writing, fun is the default. So even if I'm trying to teach a lesson, and I learned so much writing, honestly, from comic books and superhero movies and stories. The thing about superhero comic books and stories is that they peak and valley so well. Like, they tell the origin story of a character, be it the hero or the villain, and then there's a exciting scene where the hero demonstrates their powers. And they get to see they save the child from a fallen building, save the people from the train that's been derailed. And then they also show the villain and how they came to be and why they have this angst about them. And then there's the confrontation and um and it just creates this kind of roller coaster ride of fun and emotion and human connection, albeit good or bad. And
Mhm.
it's sometimes an example of life. Things aren't always easy. People are going to come across your life that
Amen.
challenge you. And so, a lot of what I write are derived from that. They're also derived from other television shows that I've watched. Danny Dollar, when you finish, and you're a little younger than me, I think, but there was a show called Family Ties that was out
Oh,
in
yeah.
the
I know
and
it.
and the cat yeah, and Alex P. Keaton was this character who was just so smart with money. He had a sister named Mallory who was really bad with money. I just
Mhm.
rinsed and repeat. I just took that story and that premise and changed the character's name to Danny and so sometimes it's not even just the of imagination, which of course all of my books are a byproduct of that. Sometimes it's just people you've been exposed to, whether they're
Mhm.
fictional or real. So yeah, and I write for fun. I'm less trying to teach a lesson and more trying to make you feel good. And when you do that, it's kind of easy to um, to be authentic and to be real and to yeah, because the end result is, like I said, when you close that book, I want you to just say that was fun.
Well, As far as I've gotten in here, I haven't read the whole thing, but as far as I've gotten in your book, Danny Dollar, I have to say you've definitely hit the mark.
Well, wait till you finish it. The end is I think the end is it's such a great twist to the end of the book,
Okay.
to the story. I think you're gonna really enjoy it.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely send you a message and let you know how I
Please
feel
do.
about the ending. I will. Every writer grows. How has your writing or your purpose evolved since the very first book?
That good question. I think no matter what it is that you do, you try your best to get better.
Mm,
I became a quote unquote writer. I don't usually like to quote myself as a writer. I'm a storyteller.
mm,
Writing is an art, and I am not an artist that way, but I'm a storyteller. And so the power in storytelling is that everybody's a storyteller. You may not be a writer, not everybody is a writer, but
mhm.
everybody is a storyteller. When your child come home from school and you ask them how was your day, they tell you a story about their day. You know, so so my growth is life and just kind of evolving as a person, especially as I've been teaching with students, seeing what they love, seeing what they don't, and just kind
Mhm,
of using that as absorbing all of that to figure out how to grow my characters, how to speak more in their language, how to develop a character more so that it adapts to today's kid more so than it does the kid from 15 years ago when I wrote Danny. You
mm,
know, kids are much more technologies conscious today. You
mhm.
know, so adding tech might be a component that I add to a book today so that kids feel like they're a little bit more. So yeah, I think the growth happens not only from the writing but from the living. You know, like that's kind of how we all grow, is just having
Mhm.
greater life experiences that help make us more of who we are, help us grow and develop into the people that we're becoming. And for me, hopefully that's a better writer
Right on.
or a better storyteller, I should say, to contradict myself.
So you've spoken widely about the importance of literacy. What do you think is the biggest misconception adults have about children reading?
I think parents and adults don't grasp the social, economical, um, cultural significance of reading. I think we all take it for granted that it's
Mhm,
something you do or don't do, and if you don't, you're fine. Um, we are living in an age where illiteracy is one of the foundational issues from of our society. Children who can't read by a certain age are more than likely to become pregnant. They're more than likely to go to jail. Parents are more likely
mm,
to be on welfare.
mm.
70% of all inmates cannot read above a fourth grade level. 80% of all kids who go through juvie cannot read above a fourth grade level.
Wow.
2 out of 3 kids who cannot read by the third grade will end up incarcerated or on welfare. Reading is more than just like a fun, whimsical thing you can do. It literally changes the social DNA of our children. More than likely to become a successful, thriving adult if you are a reader, and you're less likely if you're not. So when we talk about the things that we need to provide our children so that they grow up happy and healthy, clothing, shelter, books need to be in that conversation. You know, it is just as vital as important water that you're giving your child as the food that you're giving your child. These things that you're instilling in your child are vital to their growth, to their development, to their health, and not just now, but in the future. Other than love, I don't think there's anything that we need to give our more than the ability and the gift of reading. I don't think there's anything else that is going to set them up for being a more successful, thriving adult than instilling reading. And this isn't something that you have to do for hours a day. 15 minutes a day will literally change the course of a child's life, which in essence changes the course of all of our lives. So think- I think parents are not grasping the remarkable importance of inspiring your child to read.
Oh, there's so many times that so many points I wanted to kind of interject there because of how much money is being pulled out of the educational system and put, other places. I'm not gonna go there, but
Topic for another day.
yes, exactly, a topic for another day. But yeah, you really hit the nail on the head there when you mentioned I didn't realize the statistics were so high or what the statistics were as far as like, inmates versus the people on welfare or what do they call it? Um public assistance or, what have you. Um, I'm just a little shocked by the numbers,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I believe it's true. I
No,
believe it's honestly true.
they're dire. And it's the thing, there's a reason why you see commercials for fast food, for gambling, for alcohol,
Hmm.
but you don't see commercials for books.
Oh,
You see
yeah.
commercials for movies, you even see trailers for new television shows, never seen a commercial for a book.
That's me
Why?
holding my tongue.
Why? But you got to ask yourself the question, why? Why don't you see these commercials for books? In part because society thrives off ignorance. And
I gotta
oh,
go.
okay. Whether it's our government, whether it's our news, our media outlets, it's I don't want to get soapbox and preachy, but
Yeah.
you know, the book industry, like any other industry, is an entertainment industry.
Yep.
And whether it's sports or music or movies or television, they are all promoted in a very strategic way, not
Hmm.
books.
That's it. Ooh, okay, we'll talk more about that one. Okay. Okay. Is there a message, theme, or truth you're hoping young readers will always take away from your stories?
That they're possible, that they're capable,
Mm.
that they're so much more powerful than they believe that they are.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, books were my gateway into everything. I mean, I read at 10 years old, I'm reading Dickens and Melville and Hemingway and Capote
Hmm.
at 10. And it just opened up these amazing worlds for me. And it's one of the great educations and joys I've had in my life. So, I want kids to know that these venues of literature are out there for them to discover such amazing worlds and also to create their own, to also be vessels for creativity. Um, yeah, I think all of my books, I want to not just demonstrate joy, but also to demonstrate possibility, for them to become whatever it is that they wish to become by stretching and exercising their imagination. And I don't think anything does it the way that books do it. You can see the movie and you can read the book, but 100 out of 100 times the book is always better. And it's always because you establish the imagination of the characters and the scenes and the backdrops where the movie gives them to you. And so
100%.
instead, it's always more vivid in here than it is on the screen.
Absolutely is. And I love what you said about the kids. Well, when we first started you first started to answer the question that I asked about the kids being having possibility.
Yeah.
the kids knowing that they are powerful, that they have a chance, you know? I think that's so important that kids hear that at a young
Absolutely.
age so that they don't become, you know, grow up angry and become angry adults who believe that they can't do anything outside of working a 9 to 5.
That's right. And I grew up in the hood, in the projects,
Mhm,
impoverished, on welfare, teenage mom, father in jail. I get it.
mhm,
I am the physical manifestation of what a lot of, you know, urban kids are going through, and not even necessarily urban kids.
mhm,
So, but and I've never gone to college. And so
mm.
I've educated myself through these books and through my life experiences to be able to do this. And I'm honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, you did a great job because you're in an amazing place now.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I give all the honor to my mom,
Aw.
who again was my not only my greatest influencer in life, but also my greatest influence in reading. Again, she read even as a young child. There were books everywhere in the
Mhm,
bathroom, in the
mhm,
kitchen, in the dining area, in the living room. There were books everywhere. And even though she was only a teen when she had me, she knew that reading was really, really important. And so when I
mm.
saw her reading, I read too.
Oh, love that. Mama Jackson, thank you.
Yeah, Mom.
All right, so what upcoming projects or dreams are you excited about right now?
So my most recent book is titled Make Your Own Money, and it is a spinoff on Danny Dollar. And Make
Okay.
Your Own Money is a blueprint where Danny Dollar is kind of just a whimsical, fun story that integrates financial literacy. Make Your Own Money is actually a blueprint to teach kids how they, right now, can earn their own money, which gave me
Mm,
the idea in visiting a school that was doing a science fair that if what if you substituted science for entrepreneurship and created an entrepreneur fair? So I started it 3 years ago with 50 students in Western Massachusetts, and this year, about 6,000 students in 6 different states will participate in the Danny Dollar Entrepreneur Fair. And
wow.
the premise is simple. Instead of kids demonstrating in a science fair like how a light bulb will light or how a volcano will erupt, they will showcase their idea for a business. And we have had great success. We started in Massachusetts this year. We are in California, Florida, Mississippi, New York. Two more I can't think of off the top of my head. But
That's okay.
I'm excited for this program. Not only does it stretch the importance of imagination with kids for them to develop and give them permission to start their own business, it
Mhm,
started and derived from a book. So kids are reading
mm,
and being creative at the same time. And it's also a great vessel for teachers and schools to do because it's out of the norm. It's something that's a little different. And it's so exciting to see these kids develop their ideas for a business. And it doesn't matter what that idea is. Whatever it is that they love to do, if they love sneakers, and what kid doesn't love sneakers, they'll create a
right?
sneaker company or a sneaker cleaning company or how to make a more
Oh,
creative laces or if they love playing baseballs, they'll figure out how to coach or how to manage or even be an
mhm.
agent. Or if they love making bracelets or hair, whatever it is that they love doing, they create a business from it, and it is mind blowing.
I absolutely love that idea. So, for our listeners and for everyone out there, like how, you know, for the kids that are living in those states that you mentioned, like how do they get involved in doing the program or joining the program to create something of their own?
Well, right now, because we're still kind of new, I'm out there hustling and just knocking on doors, and some schools are really receptive to it, and some schools aren't. But to scale from 50 to 6,000 students in 6 years, I think that it's starting to catch on, and
Yeah.
people, not to mention that this society is becoming much more conscious that we need to be more financially literate. And
Mhm.
so, but I've also come across with Danny, which came out 15 years ago, and Make Your Own Money that came out 3 years ago. I've actually stopped promoting financial literacy less and started promoting entrepreneurship more.
Mhm.
Because if you sat down with your child and said, "Hey, I want to teach you about stocks or debt or interest or banking
Mhm.
or credit, you're probably not going to win them over, especially if they've got, Call of Duty waiting for them in their bedroom. But if you
Exactly.
say to them instead, I know you love skateboarding. How about we create a business regarding skateboards? We can teach other kids
Mm,
how to skateboard. We can make a different type of skateboard. We can make clothes or helmets or things that are accessories for skateboarding. I think you got a much better chance of intriguing them on that entrepreneurial side, which will
yeah.
organically segue them into financial literacy because we need
Mhm.
startup money. Then we need to hire people. We got expenses. And then once we make the money, what do we do with the money? How do we reinvest it back into our company? So I've segued more from teaching financial literacy to teaching entrepreneurship. Kids are substantially more interested in making their own business than they are in learning about money. But if they
I,
learn about entrepreneurship, they will
mhm.
organically learn about money.
I think what you're doing is phenomenal. Like you mentioned, well, from what you meant, what I'm taking away from what you mentioned, and adding a little something too, is you can talk to them about it and they'll be bored out of their minds. You can make them read and they might be bored or they might catch on. But to have them have hands on and learn as they go, I think that is definitely the way to go.
It's the secret
I love that.
sauce. Yeah. And it's something that the entire school can do, or you can just do it at your home. It does
Yep.
it could be small and the premise is already familiar. It's a science fair. You get a trifold. In my book, Make Your Own Money, which I happen to have a copy with right here,
Okay.
which makes it really easy, is that there's in the back there are worksheets, on
Look at
how kids
that.
can
Okay.
what's my business, where they start their idea, and then there actually is like a business plan that they can.
Wow.
And if you go to my
Look
website,
at this.
tylerjackson.com, you can actually print these out for free. And
Oh my
so,
gosh.
but
Ty,
they're
that's
also in the back
amazing.
of the book. I think so too. So, so yeah, this is Make Your Own Money, how kids can earn, save, spend, and dream big. And and I'm really proud of this book, and it's the cornerstone for the Danny Dollar Entrepreneur Fair. And I really believe it's going to be a household name in 5 years.
Believe so too. That's huge.
I think so too.
Um, so I should probably wait to say this, after the interview, but with what you're doing, especially since it is happening here in Florida as well, with the kids making their own businesses, if there's anyone you need me to reach out to or someone you need me to pay a visit,
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to do that.
How about everybody? How about
Everybody, you got
I'll
it.
I'll send you the links with some of my information on how to get started. And
Okay.
I actually just was speaking just yesterday to a principal in Tampa
Mhm.
who we're going to implement the entrepreneur fair in his school. And so and we already have 300 students in Fort Lauderdale who I actually kick off the entrepreneur fair next month, and I will physically visit their fair in February for Black History
Oh
Month.
my gosh. Let me know when that happens. I want to be there. Boots
Okay,
on the
all right, I
ground.
will. I promise. I will let you know. Boots on the ground. I love it.
So, if you could speak directly to a child who feels unseen or unheard, what would you want them to know?
You know, uh, all right, I want to say something good and something maybe
Okay,
questionable.
go for it.
Um, the good thing is that again, you're so much more powerful than you realize. I think kids people in general often think that one person can't make a difference. It's always been just one person that makes a difference. It's
Mm,
always been a Rosa Parks. It's always been a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X, a John F. Kennedy, a Barack Obama. It's
mm,
always an Einstein, a Steve Jobs, an Oprah Winfrey. It's always been just one person that makes a difference. You are
right.
one person and you can make a difference. And I think when you give kids that power to
Mhm.
see themselves in a way that makes them feel strong and capable, I think you plant the seed with them to let them know that they are possible. And the other thing that maybe isn't so, and I learned this as a kid growing up in the hood, Nobody's coming to save you. No one is coming to
Tell
save
it.
you. No one is bringing you $1 million check. You're not hitting the lottery. This life is yours and yours alone. And how the choices that you make will be the determining factor to how successful you are in it. And I'm not talking monetary, I'm talking soulfully. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not a millionaire, not yet
Hmm.
anyway, but I guarantee you, you'll struggle to find someone more successful than me because
Hmm.
I'm doing what I love to do. And it is impacting our most amazing citizens. And and I'm grateful for that. But I did this, and yes, I had tremendous
Yes,
amount of
you
help.
did.
You can't do this alone, and nor should you try. But you have to be the spark that ignites the fire inside of you to do whatever it is that you want to do, because nobody's coming to save you. Not your
Wow. You.
parents, not your friends. It's on you, and that's actually a good thing. That's a great
Mhm.
thing because the one person that you can always depend on to come through for you is you. So, so yeah, there you go.
I'm so happy that you said that, that you mentioned that, because that's one of those tough love things that
Yeah,
we all need to hear as young people, as young adults, even as adults. No one is coming to save you. You
that's
are
right.
the one that has to save you. Of course, there'll
That's
be
it.
people to help, here and there, but for the most
100%.
part, you're in charge of your destiny.
That's it. That is it.
What's one book from your own childhood that changed you?
Yeah, I referenced it earlier. It's comic books. Comic books were the game. I mean, first of all, a million books, or maybe not a million, but there are many, many books that I read. But comic books were my gateway, and particularly Spider-Man. And I tell this to kids because there's something different about Spider-Man that's different from almost every other superhero, but it has
Mm.
nothing to do with his powers. Can you guess what it is? I'm asking you, what, Bell, is different about Spider-Man that's different from almost every other superhero, but it has nothing to do with his power?
Oh my God, nothing to do with his powers. That's not a question or not something I've like given much thought. I just love my superheroes.
Yeah, the answer is
Okay, I give
simple.
in.
Spider-Man's a kid. Spider-Man's
Ah,
a kid. Thor and Batman and Wonder Woman and Iron Man and Captain America, they're all adults. Spider-Man's a
yeah.
kid. He goes to school. He's all around girls. He loves science. He's from Queens. I'm from the Bronx. So I align with Spider-Man because I love science and I'm still awkward around girls. And so there was this connection. And think about what superheroes stand for: honor, integrity, strength,
Hmm.
courage, goodwill. And they're just cool. Who doesn't want to
Hmm.
be those things? Everybody wants to be those things.
Absolutely.
So Spider-Man and superheroes in general were my gateway. Those were the books that sparked I could be courageous, I could be heroic, I could be
Mm.
kind, I could be funny, I could be cool. And so those are, but I'm a huge advocate of comic books and superhero movies, especially now superhero movies because they're so vivid. I mean, they're just they're as vivid as the books themselves, which is very, very hard to say. Because usually the books are better, but I could even argue that the movies actually be better now in this particular genre. So, parents out there, don't be afraid to take your child to the bookstore. And when they pick out a comic book instead of a novel, tell them take two.
Yeah, right on, right on. I do this. I do that with my kids too. We go to the bookstore. Now that the weather is cooled off, we'll be doing what we did last year. Like grabbing some books and then going out to the
Yeah,
park, put out a blanket, do a little picnic. We all
I
sit there
love,
and read. It's perfect.
I love it. That's great.
Mhm. Okay, ready. Ty, I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom, your heart, and your mission with us today. Your work is changing how kids see themselves and what they believe is possible. It's been an honor having you here. Thank you again so much for coming on and again for being a yes to this interview.
Well, it was my honor, my privilege, and this is one of the best interviews I've had in a while. You did a great job.
Y'all hear that?
That's right. Look out, Oprah.
Right? Um, and I got lost because you said that. Okay, so where was I? Oh, so to all of my viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Man, keep an eye out for this guy, Allan Jackson, and make sure you purchase his books. Your kids need these. They need the financial literacy. You see, he's got the images of Mr. Danny Dollar up. He's got a bunch of books out. They're all worth a read. I already started reading Danny Dollar. It's amazing. I highly recommend this to all young, well, I highly recommend this to young people as I highly recommend this read to everyone. Um, this has been a segment from the Here we go again. This has been a segment from the Brewtiful. Why, Belle? One more time. This has been a segment from the Brewtiful Book Club. I will see you on the next episode. And keep an eye out for Mr. Allan Jackson. Bye. And how do you approach writing? How do you approach writing representation with honesty? How do you? I'm going to do this one last time. And now he's here with us to. And now he's here with us to. Jeez, Belle. Told you I'm nervous. Okay. Hello, everybody.